Morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Top Tier Talk. This week we're covering all things football. Southampton and the Saints went marching in and walked away with a 1-1 draw against Arsenal. Nottingham Forest picked up a 1-0 victory against Liverpool on Alexander-Arnold and the men from Anfield. The spirits dampened on the River Trent. Chelsea and United played out their fourth draw in a row. And also in the week, Chelsea picked up another point against Brentford with a 4 draw, and Manchester United picked up the 2-0 victory against Spurs. But we're going to start with Arsenal. Elliot, take it away.
Oh, where do I start with this game? I'm afraid. Jesus Christ, so much went wrong in that game against us. And can I say as well, we were very heavily. The game was against us that match. There was a load of decisions in that game that I'm afraid that I think if an average football fan, like non-biased, would look at that and go, "Why is that not given as a free kick or as a penalty or as anything like that?" You'd be questioning like the confident. What's the word? The humility of the sport, whatever. I don't know. But something like the actual like integrity of the sport. Sorry, that's the word. Do you know what I mean? Because you're thinking, well, when you're looking at the likes of Chavez, I could bring you into this actually, because when McTominay brought down Brozier in the box last week, you're thinking, oh, penalty, fair enough, no problem. The same happened, the exact same thing, got manhandled. Gabriel Jesus got manhandled again. The same exact thing that happened against you guys, but nothing happened. Apparently, he's told to get up. Come on now, like, don't get me wrong. If the McTominay thing was a foul, wasn't a foul, and this one wasn't a foul, look, you can't give them all in it. But if that's a foul, why is this not a foul? Come on now. And then also when Ben White was in the box and literally got pushed over, what's the crack about that? Why are we not even looking at that? Do you know what I mean? And then Saka gets booked for diving as well, when he literally got clipped on the edge of the box. I don't know. It's a disgraceful game, but I mean, obviously, you're taking the fact of the way of all that bullshit that happened to us. You've still got the fact that we weren't prolific enough. Do you know what I mean? We had like Gabriel Jesus. Obviously, he's not on the ball for that one match. Obviously, we still love him to bits. Obviously, there's still some Arsenal fans who are like, he's not a prolific goal scorer. He needs to step up. It's one game off. Like, relax. But obviously, there was a few chances where he should have scored. I do have to admit, and obviously, that comes back to bite you in the arse. I'm afraid, because when you don't put your, what was it? When you don't count your chickens, Daniel. What was it? But whatever happens, do you know what I mean? You gotta have that your solid number 9 to be able to put those sort of goals away. You know, Odegaard putting it on the plate for him multiple different times. You know, Martinelli still doing his job down the left. I don't know why he got taken off for Nketiah, and Saka on the right. As I said, I don't know why he got booked, but I think it put him on tilt for the rest of the game because he kind of fell out of that right mid position or right wing position. Sorry. And I just want to say as well, you know, I love obviously our players. I love them to bits, but I do think something is very odd and different with our subs compared to our starting 11. For example, Odegaard got brought off the pitch, Fabio Vieira got brought on, and I do have to say the quality of that number 10 role got brought down. Obviously, as I said,
It's
I love
quite different
Vieira.
to what you were saying a couple of weeks ago, though, when he did score. So, is it just it's kind of masking how good he really is? That goal, to be honest,
I could bring up the same thing against because we haven't spoken about it, the PSV game, because I was there, I was live watching it, and obviously he started that game for us. And as I said in that player ratings video, the fluidity of the game changed when Odegaard came on the pitch, and I don't know why, but obviously it's I can't explain why he's not fitting into that role perfectly, and it's annoying because he is a fantastic player. But for these past couple of games, he's been off the ball. You know, he's getting barged off the ball too frequently. He's making like the odd pass too late, and it's obviously going to the opposition. But
I can tell
yeah, and
you
again,
why. I can tell you why. It's because of the lack of play time. He's come to a new league. He's not a starter, is he? So he's not going to be able to play as much, and he hasn't obviously adapted properly. Like the goal probably just masks how good he really is. To be honest, that he scored a couple of weeks back.
but then again, obviously reaching onto that, you still got the likes of Nketiah who have been Premier League proven and still have some experience, and he's still a bit dodgy on the left. I know it's not
Is he
proving up.
proven though, or is it just
Well, he'd done a job for us at the end of last season.
Did he though?
Exactly. But you see what I mean? You
Did he
get the
though? Because he
experience. He
didn't finish
started
top
20
four,
minutes for the rest of the season and he still didn't do anything. So you question it because you're thinking, okay, maybe he wasn't put in the right position on the left-hand side. Granted, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? But you're still expected to do a job and put every bit of passion into that game. And it just seemed to be it. Well, the first half we did all right. Second half we just dropped off completely. It's like the energy just went zap, gone. And that prick, that not going to swear. I'm not going to swear. That Brazilian gimp, what's his name? Tried to headbutt Nketiah. Come on, that's a red card. Are we all in agreement, or are we all any of you disagreeing? Is that not a red card? This man got up, whiplashed his head round, and tried to choke Nketiah. You kidding me?
Was it the headbutt or a choke? Which one?
Both.
Both. And VAR didn't see that.
Apparently
I haven't watched the game, so I can't really
Yeah.
comment on that.
It
but
was shocking.
I
And
think
we got cheered out of that game by that gimp who's the referee. 12th man.
Could this potentially be the downfall of Arsenal? The one that I've
No.
been waiting for so
Bloody
long.
hell.
Look at this. The
Look at
lack of
this.
quality in the play. No, because as you said, and it was always going to happen. No one can compete with Man City's squad. But as you said, your players overran, is burning out. What if that could be the case, and you can see more sloppy performances and
It's a
games
learning
that you
curve.
should be winning? I know it's a
It's a-
learning curve, but could this potentially be? I'm just asking you.
No.
Are you worried at all? This result?
No.
Is this okay?
No, it's a very big learning curve, as Mikel said as well. He said, obviously, we have to learn from this. These are the games that actually kind of zap us back into the mode of winning back our games. But you are forgetting of the fact we've only lost one and we've only drawn one in 11 games. What, we're supposed to win 37 out of the 38 games? Do you know what I mean? With that, and then
You lost to United as well.
That's why I said 37 out of the 38.
Oh right, okay, I wasn't paying attention.
But that's what I'm saying. Are we expected to win every single one of our games for the rest of the season after that United defeat? Because apparently otherwise we're on our downfall. No, do you know what I mean? We're still top of the league.
Not.
We're still 2 points above Man City. Everyone's forgetting that. Oh, it's our downfall. It's one game and we drew it. Like, it's bloody hell. No, I reckon. Do you know what? I'm going to put a bet on this. Yeah, we're going to play Nottingham Forest on the weekend. Yeah, and we're going to slap them 4-0. You heard it here first. And everyone's going to be like, well, it's lucky game.
You might want to count your chickens. They just beat Liverpool. They could start a momentum.
But we're at home. I reckon we're different grade.
Emmanuel Dennis is going to bag at the Emirates.
They are 100% at home, Arsenal.
Yeah. So it's a weird one because every single fan in the world, other than Arsenal fans, actually don't. Everyone says, when we had like a few hit games here and there of like winning streaks, everyone was like, oh, we actually wouldn't mind Arsenal winning the league, and now everyone doesn't like us all of a sudden. Like, what? What's happened there? I don't understand it, but as I said, shit game because first half was all right. We should have bagged our chances. Second half was awful. The ref was against us. There's a few decisions that were absolutely awful, and the consistency of the game needs to be questioned. VAR needs some actual brain cells in that office to be able to make some quality decisions, and that's it from me from Arsenal's side of things.
Cool. Thank you, Elliot. I think it's a good time to, because obviously Chelsea and United play together. We'll do that as a big discussion at the end. We move on to Daniel, and he can bring up, I think, start of the week or middle of the week, breaking seats, allegedly, of course, angry, and then the highs of a 4-0 against your arch rivals. So take it away.
Yeah, Millwall was a calamity to say the least. That if you're going to a place like Millwall away, or quite a lot of teams that are sort of settled in the Championship, or almost what you guys would sort of think Championship teams play like, long ball football, like a cliche wet windy night against Stoke type football. Millwall did that for all three of their goals. They scored the exact same goal 3 times in the space of like 25 minutes, and it just didn't get
hat-trick, wasn't it? It was a hat-trick,
yeah. It was. There were people were leaving. Even at half time, people were on the platform. It was just terrible. It was a terrible game of football. We drew the second half. So in the words of Roy Hodgson, when he come and nearly said, we nearly drew the second half. We actually did this time. So it was 0-0 in the second half. But it couldn't have got any worse. So yeah, that's the less said, the better. But yeah, it was a good training match on Sunday. Good training match against the team up the road.
What I ask you, Dan, is I know you're going to obviously speak on the Luton game, etc. What was the difference between that Millwall defeat and this game against Luton? Is it just because of the occasion and stuff, the players turned up, or did you see a real difference in the side?
No, we actually played all right. Nathan Jones, the Luton manager, come out and said they had illness in the squad. I don't really care, mate. It's unlucky, it's football. But whether they were missing their first team players or not, we actually played good football. Which is frustrating. I'm not expecting us to pull out like a Man City almost and play at 100% for the whole season and every competition, because that's not realistic. But you look at last week, we beat Norwich, who I know they were won in their last 4 or 5 games now, but they're still a fairly good side and a fairly evenly matched side to us. And then obviously that one with Luton. Luton have been on a run. I think they were 5th or 6th. I said I haven't really looked at the table. I've been trying not to, but they were on a fairly good run, and a few people were tipping them to finish in the playoffs. So they're not playing bad, and we do that to them. So we can play. It's which makes it more frustrating, because then we put performances like we did against Millwall, and you're like almost like what I understand of. As I said, you can't play at full strength, 100 miles an hour for the full season, but it was an awful performance on Wednesday, straight to a polar opposite on Sunday. We were in control from literally kickoff. We scored early on. They had a couple of chances, as you do. You got to take your foot off the gas a little bit. They had 2 or 3 chances, but it was controlled. There was never really any major threat as such.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, as you say, it's just annoying that.
I get you. It's frustrating being a
Yeah.
Watford fan sometimes, but I'm going to very quickly, all the time, yeah. I'm going to very quickly speak on the Brentford game, and then we'll bring Chavez into it for the United Chelsea, and then obviously I think we should end it off with obviously Cristiano and
the Tottenham.
And the Tottenham, of course.
Let me be happy for a bit.
Of course. Very quickly on the Brentford game, we were just lucky not to lose that game. We were crap for about 85 minutes, and then we had a couple chances after that. So that's that done. Don't want to speak on that anymore. I'm take the draw. We'll move on to United, Chavez. Another game where I commend, from my side, Graham Potter for making the substitute of taking off Cucurella and Kovacic, because it takes guts for a manager to do that, especially a manager like him, his first time playing at a big club, etc. But we were lucky. I'll take the draw again. It was a penalty. I'm sure you can weigh in and say it was a penalty. I know a lot of them get missed, and we had inconsistencies in the Arsenal game. But McTominay shouldn't be doing that. He should know that as a footballer. And then you equalise with Casemiro, and then you can obviously talk about that. But I'm just going to say it wasn't Kepa's fault. Everyone's saying Mendy would have saved it and stuff. It was a fantastic header. He picked the corner quite nicely. But yeah, what was your assessment of United, Chelsea, and then we'll go on to Tottenham after?
So for me, that game was boring to watch, sure, there was a reason it was boring to watch, because that was 2 managers just at their absolute best. I mean, Ten Hag and Graham Potter in that game were showing off, because Ten Hag started, he had the upper hand, the formation, whatever, we were dominating the 30 minutes. Then Potter, as a new manager, made a change which not many managers do in their first job. He brought on Kovacic. He overloaded the midfield, cancelled Ten Hag out. Ten Hag makes one substitution, it's to cancel Potter out. And each time it worked, there would be an upper hand for the team that made the sub. Then the other manager would respond. And sometimes it was happening very quickly. So you weren't even getting.
It was like a game of chess, wasn't it, really?
Yeah,
like
it was beautiful.
Chess,
and it's so nice to see like that happen. I know, like, ultimately when you watch the game, it's not great because the players are probably thinking, like, what is happening? We're just even. But to see, like, because think of it, Ten Hag's not been in the job that long, and neither Potter has not been in the job that long in Chelsea at all. For them to do that now, they know their teams very well, and it's impressive because that's the type of thing you see a Klopp and Pep do 3 years down the line. So to see that now it's so positive. And I think both sets of fans should really take like good thoughts from that game. The only reason Man United deserve to win that game, I think, is because Ten Hag's been there longer, and his players, I think generally our 11 is better than Chelsea's, but Potter had a better squad and he had a better bench, and he used that and kind of equaled the game in the second half. But yeah, brilliant from the managers. The game was terrible to watch, but I don't for the first time think it's a Chelsea thing where we have a pragmatic Chelsea manager. It's just a new manager who's come in who's basically countering everything Ten Hag did, and he did it brilliantly, Potter. I have a new respect for him.
Fantastic. I think it's just 2 very talented managers, really. Probably up and coming managers, obviously the new generation after obviously Pep and Klopp, and it's just, as you said, I think United probably did deserve that more, but I'm taking a draw with both hands. And I guess we can also speak on the Tottenham game, 2-0 victory. So if you want to just kind of...
That was everything. That game was what Ten Hag wants out of his final product of Man United. And for some reason, we've just managed to pull it out halfway through not even halfway through a season, early into the season. Everyone was outstanding, and everyone was actually sort of trying. There seemed to be a genuine game plan and a pattern to the game. You don't often say that for Man United. You don't say, oh, is a certain way we play. But we did it. We played to the exact type of football that Ten Hag wants in an Ajax team, for example, and it was coming across here. The only problem now we have is our finishing. I guess we're not finishing chances that much, and that will hopefully come because it's annoying. I feel like Ronaldo being in the team puts pressure on the strikers, and I don't want to blame him, but it doesn't help when he's walking off the state. Like he walked off the pitch, which that was Ten Hag's
Refused to
best
come
game.
off. Yeah.
That was his
Refused to
best
come on,
game.
sorry.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the best game we've had, and he came off like him on his own accord at the 88th. He just left the pitch, which again, it happens. People get fined. Man United players in the past have done it. He will get fined. He'll be back, I'm sure, against Sheriff. But it wasn't good on his part. It didn't help the team. I think he needs to also acknowledge now that the best team, Man United team, doesn't include him, but he can help. He can come on in a game like that, if need be. If it was 0-0, I'm sure we would have brought Ronaldo on. But Elanga was brought on because it was a 2-goal gap, and Elanga hasn't had much of a chance. So Ronaldo shouldn't feel this entitlement. He gets paid a certain amount of money. Ronaldo knows this, by the way. It was just heat of the moment, and I'm not going to have a go at him because he's going to get his fine. He's been suspended, and he'll be back. But yeah, it's a shame, but we have to move on from it.
What would you, and it's very nicely in this segment you moved on to Ronaldo. What would you want if you were Ten Hag in January? Would you let go of Ronaldo? Would you let him leave? Do you think he's being problematic because of his ego, etc.? I know I'm throwing a lot at you. Is it Ten Hag's fault maybe for not letting him go in the summer? What is this whole problem with Ronaldo and Cristiano?
People that are fans of Ronaldo will always say that we stopped Ronaldo leaving. People who are Man United fans will always say that no, we didn't. No one wanted Ronaldo. One club did in Saudi Arabia or something, and he said no. We'll have that argument for eternity if we need to. I think it's a case of Ronaldo and Ten Hag sitting down before January and actually discussing how Ronaldo helps this team very clearly. Ronaldo needs to understand, and I don't know if he does understand, that his team, he is not a guaranteed starter in this team, and he will not be in this team if we're playing at our best. Ronaldo, unfortunately, most likely he's not in that team with everyone fit, and he needs that to be relayed to him. If Ronaldo doesn't accept that, then we need to offload him in January. If he does, if he wants to play a part, which he can, off the bench, Ronaldo would be great. And maybe sometimes he could even start, depending on the type of game we're playing. But he needs to acknowledge he is not the first name on the team sheet like he always has been. And he needs to hit acceptance. If he doesn't, then sure, I think he should leave.
But what I'm struggling to obviously come to terms with, because I like Ronaldo, and obviously you do as well, and a lot of others do, is how has he gone from being your top goal scorer last season? I know it's a hard question, I understand, to being not even on the first, even in the first 11. What is it? Is it the football? Is it his as you said, he's deteriorated? What do you think this is?
So Ralf Rangnick said it very clearly. Ralf Rangnick, when he came in, had a certain style of football, and he tried to play it, and it didn't work because at the time we had Ronaldo. We had all these players that didn't understand the system anyways and didn't have a preseason. So he decided to just play how Oli was playing, play with a Ronaldo team, see what happens. And Ronaldo did give us a lot of goals. He still will, by the way, if he plays. He'll get that incredible goal because he has it in him. But now we've got a new manager who's got a new philosophy, who had a preseason to instill that philosophy into the team. That philosophy, unfortunately, doesn't follow with how Ronaldo plays it. A team with Ronaldo needs to have fullbacks that can cross, and everything works towards giving Ronaldo a goal. And we still do that when Ronaldo plays. Our players somehow seem to give up on going for goal themselves or passing to other players. We try and serve Ronaldo, which is fair enough because he's a prolific goal scorer. But we've gone away from that now. We have a manager whose philosophy we bought into. We need to carry that on. And that's why it's also deterioration, as I said, biology. But it's not to an extent where he's just changed as a human being over the summer. It's also because we've got a new manager with a new philosophy.
I understand that, and I guess it's just finding also a solution for Cristiano as well. Dan, you haven't really spoken about the Ronaldo. I'm going to just kind of drop you in. If you're Cristiano, where would your next destination be? Would it be in the MLS where he just continues the shooting, or would it be still in the Champions League?
I'd stay at United.
Would you?
I personally, hang on a sec.
That's all right.
I know he's not happy there. Evidently, obviously, he left the pitch early, etc., etc. Obviously, it's not the first time there's been like a bit of controversy surrounding Ronaldo when he hasn't had minutes, or not even just at United, but he did it at Juve. Hence why he ended up at United, whenever it was 2 years ago. So we know it was going to happen at some point. It was just a ticking time bomb as opposed to when. if I was him, I'd stay at United. They were stupid enough to give him that amount of money. And as Chavez said, he's probably only going to, you'll probably agree, he'd only probably get that amount of money in Saudi.
He's not going to go there as a pride thing.
No, but he won't go there. So, and no one's going to take a massive pay cut. No one's going to pay him what he wants, and he's not going to take a massive pay cut because no one in their right mind, whether you're Ronaldo or one of us lot, would take a massive pay cut because
he wants Champions League football, so this is as good as it gets for him. I'm someone who comes from a position of I'm a Man United fan who Ronaldo's my second favorite player of all time behind Rooney as a Man United fan. And I think this is the best it gets now for Ronaldo. And naturally, as time goes on, he's going to get worse. He should stay at Man United. He can help us out if he accepts being on the bench. If not, have a World Cup, hopefully win the World Cup, and then retire. If you don't want to go to if you don't want to go to another club.
Could do.
Yeah, a couple other talking points I do want to speak on, obviously over this game week and obviously over the weekend is Liverpool's loss to Nottingham Forest. Do you think
Either of you watched that game?
I watched a bit of it, but it's not really. I just want to know you guys' opinion. Do you think this that Liverpool win against Man City was just a little papering over the cracks for what a poor season Liverpool will have this season, or do you think they will eventually pick their form up again? What do you guys think of the whole Liverpool saga?
I think they're getting found out. I did watch a bit of it. They're just getting found out now defensively. Liverpool plays such a high pressing attacking game that people are finding out Trent Alexander-Arnold is not. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a good defender. He's not a world-class defender like he's a world-class attacker. And he's not to that level. So you can just attack his side. And in general, I think Liverpool are very open in the back with the way how they play. And it's a high-risk game, right? And people are just taking the risk now. Well, they're matching the risk and playing as attacking as Liverpool. And it's working. And I don't know if they're tired, if there's long-term tiredness there in the squad. There's age. We know Liverpool have a problem with age. Their youngsters also are not as good as everyone makes them out to be. Harvey Elliott is not of the standard required to be a Liverpool Champions League winning team like it was a couple of years ago. So it's a few things that have just suddenly fallen into place that have gone completely wrong for Liverpool. And yeah, it's sad. But well, it's not sad for me. I'm enjoying it, but yeah.
And Dan, do you think Klopp will be at Liverpool next season?
Well, we did a thing a few weeks ago, and we had to predict our next manager to be sacked.
I said Gerrard, I think.
I said Klopp, which is obviously wrong in terms of the question, but partly said it because he was going to be the next manager to be sacked. But it's also, if you look at him at Dortmund, it's almost like a cycle. Every manager goes through a cycle of
they have their peak. An end of another one.
Because all the same. I said it during the start of the season with the predictions as well. It's like you look at Liverpool's team. I'm not saying they're bad players, but if you look at Alisson, obviously he's in his prime coming to the end. Look at Van Dijk, Robertson, Thiago, Hendo. Like
aging,
Salah, they're all they are, and it's almost like where they sold Mane and replaced it with Darwin and Luis Diaz. Fair enough, you've replaced it, but
I believe Dan
we have lost Daniel, but he's right.
He's 100% right.
It's the age, like the age. They aren't investing. This is like how I said Arsenal need backing in the January window. They're not getting back Liverpool. What have they got? There's one signing that they made, which I guess was more expensive than Haaland, right? Is not returning like anywhere to 10% of Haaland's level. He doesn't even start games. So it's a case of they've overspent on one player where they could have just fulfilled a few areas. But
and you would have thought he would be in that starting front three with Diaz being out, and he's still not, which is obviously very worrying.
You can't spend that much money and then just not play your star player. He's their star player. If you think of it, with the money they've paid, he has to be their star man.
He has to be. You're right.
Yeah.
And another very quick other big club that obviously lost over the weekend was Tottenham. Do you think Conte's also being found out as well? Do you think Conte will be sacked, or do you think we have to ride out with Conte, give him more windows, let him buy the players he wants again? Because someone made a good point.
Keep him stay. He's not at the end of his cycle yet. He's only been there a little while.
I think
someone made a very good point on that. We all said Spurs had a great window, but they just built the squad up. Like who in them
starting 11,
the starting 11. That was a very good point. So maybe just give him a window again, another window, and then they'll obviously see the benefits. Do you think that's the case, Chavez?
No, for the problem with Tottenham is the football they play. It's so terrible that you have to win football matches. You have to win things. It's like England in the Euros. It has to end with a trophy, and if it doesn't, then it's just everything collapses. And they are really terrible to watch, and that's what they're working towards as well. But it's not in the way that you want it to be. Like Jose Mourinho teams have been so good in the past. But yeah, I don't know. I think Conte will walk eventually because he'll realize that Tottenham are just unfixable. They'll get a window. I don't think if Daniel Levy doesn't back his managers continuously, it makes sense. You back them once, you back them less and less as the windows go on. I think Conte has self pride. He'll leave. He'll know when he needs to leave.
You
When
think?
when it's not doable.
Fair enough. I think that's a great point to end on. Obviously, we'll be back next week. More games to talk about. Obviously, European nights are back tonight. Chelsea. I've been watching it, so keep moving across. Seeing we did score with 2-1 up, but yeah, expect more TikToks as well. Dan obviously will be going to more away, reviewing. Yeah, and unfortunately, and just keep up to date with more the chase coming out soon. So thanks, guys, and see you next week.